Maybe we could ask that. What are your cats' names?
Callie and Freya.
Would they really enjoy being in space, though, or would they be freaked out?
Zero gravity? I think they like that. Yeah.
Okay, so Michelle, if I can ask my first question to you, it occurred to me while we were watching that awesome trailer of all the amazing things that we have on Space Channel, how cool it is to work for this channel. Then I thought, it must be really cool to see something that was once just in your imagination, you know, appear in a montage alongside all this other cool sci-fi things, and to be in a room full of people who've watched your imagination come to life. Like, that's got to be one of the coolest life experiences.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. I've never done any better than that. That's kind of the coolest life experience I will ever have. So, yeah, it's I think the most enjoyable part of the process, well, it's kind of an evolution, but it starts with as we get to see the people that are actually going to be saying our words. And then with a show like this that's so heavy on VFX, and I know the actors have the same experience as well, it's when you can actually see everybody else's jobs coming into play and see the final thing. We, even through the editing process, kind of only have a concept of how it's going to finally look. A lot of people are involved in making television, and they all do their part, and all of them, I think, I have a great debt of gratitude for season 2, including all of you, so thank you.
Well, Tamsen and Aaron, I just heard, like, before we took to the stage, this is actually the first time you guys met today?
About half an hour ago, right?
We should have had like a singles mixer. Just like a ship and a boy. Put them all together, yeah.
Well, Tamsen, can you tell us about your process in bringing Lucy to life? I mean, the voice of the ship is integral, and within this show especially, the relationship that the crew have with the ship is very different than other sci-fi series. So how did you go about bringing her to life?
Well, there was over there with me who we just kind of we worked out each line, and we said it a bunch of different times and sort of worked through a few different ideas of the character, and then one just sort of naturally started to bubble to the surface. And that's
kind of had dirty thoughts about John.
The kind of had dirty thoughts about John, yes.
Just bubble. Just bubble.
Inappropriate language, but.
Yeah, there's all sorts of dirty outtakes that you guys recorded.
They will be now.
Well, as a huge fan of the show, I want to talk to you about episode 7, I believe, Kiss Kiss Bye Bye. Wow, that was, I just want to know, Aaron, especially from you as well, your reaction to reading that script, you know, Davin being programmed, stabbing you, sorry, spoiler! I figure you guys have seen it. Well, I'm just making sure. Being stabbed, and then obviously, you know, Dutch getting the crap kicked out of her. What was that like? Because, I mean, that changed the tone of the rest of the season and the dynamic between the three.
Yeah, when I read it, I thought it was really interesting. I'm like, wow. But really watching that fight put together was so jarring. Yeah. Because reading it is one thing, you're like, okay, this is what's happening, but actually seeing it, my jaw sort of dropped. I didn't know how to feel about it. It was so violent and so out of nowhere, you know, like that sort of, obviously they're doing it, and then they're fighting it.
What are they doing?
Well, talking in space. So light touching. But yeah, just the contrast of those two things, like actually visualizing, seeing that was incredible.
Yeah. So then, Michelle, I want to ask with you, I mean, where did that whole idea come from? Like, where was, you know, the inspiration for all of that?
I would need a shrink. I don't know, honestly. I think for me it was, we had, you know, you chart out the trajectory of your characters and their arcs for your 10 episodes, and we sort of saw where Davins was going. And I knew from the beginning that there was, because of the type of characters and people that they are, in terms of them both being competitive and very physical, I felt that when the chips were down and they were able to look at each other and say, we are both damaged people, that it would give them permission to sort of say, okay, well, let's go with this, let's not think, because I think that's kind of how they are. And I didn't want an episode that was just about that, you know, and since it happened to be coming right in our chart around the same time where Davin was going to have a little oopsie, I thought, well now, let's explore this. But like Aaron said, actually, Aaron, myself, and one of our writers, Emily Andrus, we were in Florida, I think it was, when that was being shot. So I was getting some of the last stunt stuff on my phone in the airport, giving notes, being like, wait a minute, she has to knock him unconscious. It's just very random stuff.
It sounds like we're just on vacation. You're like, we're in Florida just on vacation.
Yeah, no, it's a hard show, so like halfway through, we just go off somewhere and yeah, we're sangria. But seeing, in my mind, I know Dutch is the ultimate badass, and I have no fears for her. But when it's on screen, there is a very maternal part of me that's like, wait, that's Hannah. And so that was the part, I think. And we, even with the sound guys, we were working on it. I'm like, every time she hits, it's a harder sound. Like just trying to make a sense of, you know, she's holding back in that scene because she is not in any way in doubt of how this is going to end, but she can't face you if it's like, hi, welcome home, did you get the wine? By the way, I killed your brother. You know? Kind of no win for her, so it was emotionally really tense.
I'm just picturing us then like, okay, we'll just jettison out the
You're like, but we're cool, right?
Yeah, he's kind of rocking the boat anyway.
Well, the last time we had a Killjoys panel was before the show actually went to air. So I know a lot of you have questions to ask, so get them ready, and we're going to go to the floor really quickly. But Michelle, I wanted to ask you, is there anything now that we can talk about the show that surprised you? How it changed from what was in your mind to what ended up on the screen? Because you know when you're putting a show together in a collaborative nature, things shift around and change. Was there something that was like a pleasant surprise for you?
I think the casting of every single one of our secondary characters, including Tamsen, was a real surprise in a happy way. It was, all of them came alive. They were always intended to grow and build, but to have fun with them as we're having them grow and build was a real pleasure. And I think we saw the chemistry, and I think you probably felt it when we first had the chemistry test between the first three leads. And sometimes they're just having a good day. You know, you're like, oh, well, they seem to like each other, but then cameras roll and you're like, well, shit. So the fact that they, not telling any tales, sing a lot of show tunes together that they may have on set. The fact that they do that, yeah, no, totally lying. The fact that they do that and get along, it involves Vic.
There's a lot of show tunes about the planets, because we're sort of discovering the planets and the words as well, you know, like the different things, and Hannah is an incredible singer, and so is Luke, so they would just start to sing things about Leith and Westerly and stuff, so there's just all these songs that sort of, that, yeah, maybe one day we'll record them, I don't know.
Well, before we go to the floor, we do have to ask, because I'm sure it's going to come up from the floor anyway, what can you tease us or suggest or can you say about where we might go with the second season? Obviously, we do have to explore Arkin a little bit more.
Right. I would say that there are hints at the end that you see of a sort of a larger course mystery that now involves Arkin as well. You will get more into level 6s. There might be some new bad people. There might be some new love interest type people. There's a lot planned, y'all. You should just watch because it's a lot.
Okay. Want to go to the floor? Oh, Tim's got a question right there. Go for it.
To follow up with the question I asked at the preview time, in regards to Star Hunter, have you had a chance to look into Star Hunter?
No, but I do remember, nice to see you again, I do actually remember that question because I was like, oh, there's a show I hadn't heard of. No, I normally when I'm in the process of something, I try to sort of avoid watching or reading too much in that area just from overload. And I've been trying now to catch up, but through books. So I mean, I just read Childhood's End because I'm like, oh, I'd like to see that. So no, I haven't, but I have that on my list.
Or there's some sunglasses right there.
The question for Aaron and Tamsen: how can you play a chemistry between the two characters if you're not like recording? Do you have any tricks for that?
Have you seen him?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, we will. The question was about...
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's about bringing chemistry to life.
Easy ones. The question was, yes, or you just said it. Well, yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, I mean, I think it's more on your dynamic, I think. Well, I see it that way because we're just sort of so wrapped up in sort of doing it, and it was difficult at the beginning.
Not
Shooting thing. But I was pleasantly surprised.
Guys, it's a ship! I mean, in the writer's room we had some jokes. Well, you really went for it, so thank you.
Isn't it interesting how the things that people pick
I
up
know!
on? Yeah, it is interesting. But it was a man that was reading the dialogue. Yeah.
Who was it though? I can't remember from
I think it was our first AD, depending who was like.
Right.
So that was a little bit weird, but I also. But the potential sort of romance or connection thing, like I don't think that I was particularly playing it. I think we'd made a joke at some point that Lucy and Johnny had some sort of relationship, but it was just totally a joke. So I think that's you guys picking up on something. You know?
I think also as we went along and we had Tamsen, we sort of had a chance to go in and rewrite some of that dialogue because we'd shot everything. And so we, have a beautiful young lady with a lovely voice, and in our mind before it had been sort of a more maternal woman. And so from John's point of view, yes, it might have been a little bit bizarre, but it works now. It's fun. So.
Okay, yes, right there.
Hi, I love the Scarbacks and the religious background that they have. Where was the inspiration for that?
So what was the inspiration for these Scarbacks and their religious background?
I wanted something that was, if you're going to deal with building a lot of worlds, obviously, I think that religion invariably throughout history is going to be part of it, whether you're pro or not. And I think that I didn't want to tell something that was just too kind of representational of Earth. And I like the idea that the Scarbacks basically, I mean, yes, it's self-flagellation and there are sort of, monkish aspects, but the fact that they all live in the shit, and so if you're going to be going to church, what are you going to be going for? And the thing that the Scarbacks offer is that they will suffer for you because, damn it, those people are suffering enough. So if you could give someone a toonie and say, smack yourself and my sins are over, that's appealing, and I like their outfits.
All right, right there, yeah.
What exactly is Klein's problem?
How long do you have?
I think I heard that, but what exactly is Klein's problem?
Klein is, There's so many things I want to tell you. I can't. So I will just say that Klein is sort of the keeper of a lot of secrets, not just of Dutch's backstory, but ultimately of the larger story that we're telling. So his problem is that he knows a lot of shit, and it's not necessarily good. So he is somebody that we're interested in over time, and we have a wonderful actor playing him and bringing all these nuances. We want to play a little bit with, is Klein the good guy, is he the bad guy, and take you along that journey.
Hi, my first introduction to the show was just somebody had written an article seeing the first episode and said this is like Firefly, but for now, and it's better. I thought that was interesting.
You're doing a show. I have guns, dude. I have little guns.
That was an audible gasp. That was.
I was just watching that. Somebody watched the first episode, but I watched the season and I was so pleased that by the end of it, it's completely its own world, and I loved how diverse it is. And I want to know what your opinion is like when you get those kinds of. I'm sure you look at questions with comparisons. How do you deal with in writing and shooting? Do you want to try to avoid comparing yourself to something else, or would you rather, be what you do?
So the question is about comparisons to other sci-fi series. Do you appreciate them? Do you try to avoid them? To summarize.
I am first and foremost a fan. That's how I began, and it is the core of my writing. And I think that there is nothing in me, no fiber in me, that would ever resent anybody saying that they like another show better or comparing one show to another, because that's the game that we play. That is the fun. It's watching something and saying, guess the origins, guess the genesis. Half the time that shit's wrong. So, but it's for you to play with. So if you want to see something in it and it's something you hate, something you love, I'm never going to stand in your way of that. So for me, the only thing that I can do is make sure that I have a very sure hold on the world and the story that I want to involve you in. Staying offline is good. It's one of the ways that I do that. And then just tell an honest story. And if it has references to things that you've all seen in the past, well, I mean, I'm a nerd, and I've basically been raised on that. I love tropes. I think that you should have fun with them. I think you should spin them, and you know, being a woman, I want to spin them in a way that is, you know, a little bit more kind to my people. You know, kind of my job. So in that sense, I hope you see a lot of stuff, because space is amazing, science fiction is amazing, genre is amazing, and we're all playing in the same sandbox, and that's just more fun for everyone.
Sorry, will we get to explore the history of the quad, why things are the way they are now?
Will we get to explore the history of the quad and why things are the way they are now?
Can I say I just love the way you sort of your cadence on that? I want you to teach a class.
Thank you, I will.
Yes, I think that, honestly, also possibly a series of books, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of world building that is in my head that I cannot give you in 10 episodes, right? And I think all of us are here because we love world building. So I also have to have missions, I have to have an awesome ship, I have to have romance, I have to have all of these things. So the world building is something that I have been putting in every episode and using those aspects to better showcase. But there's a huge history there. You know, there's also, I'm sure people want to know, what's the J? How did that start? Are we in our universe? Are we not? And I'm not telling you any of this. Buy the book. So yeah, I mean, it is something that I think we're all sort of invested in and getting into that history. And there's a lot of more interesting stuff for you to play in that as well. If it's not just, you know, what's your case of the week, but what is, you know, what's the deeper story?
There's another one right there in the flat, yeah.
If you could cosplay as anything other than your character, who would you cosplay as?
You're the voice guy.
If you could cosplay as any character other than your own character, who would you cosplay as?
This is so easy for me. Elvis. I love that character.
Pre.
Somebody costume.
Were you talking about in the show?
Either or.
Oh, okay. That's a whole other wax there. I gotta think on that one.
Michelle.
Oh, who would I? Somebody with vacation time.
Go to this side. Oh, right there. I'm sure.
So I noticed in the show, but nothing really is how this seems. You have the rack, and you think it's like a kid project, but God, then there's a whole other section of the level 6, and then you take the 1%. They're giving the Western a chance to get through migrate after 7 generations, but then they're having their own corruption. Is there an actual good side of the show? Is there always that
How to summarize that? Okay. The show is full of surprises, and especially surrounding who's good, who's bad. Are there actual good guys within the show?
Killjoys.
Aside from the obvious 3.
That was like the most awesome answer, though, by the way, right? Just a I think that for me, I'm interested in challenging that. I think that our world challenges that daily, the news challenges that. I believe that there is a certain degree of cruelty that you can never be good. But I do also believe, and there's something that will come up in your storyline in this coming year, where bad things are done in the name of good causes all the time. And I think that that's kind of something that we're interested in exploring is, you know, yes, okay, are you with the rack, are you with the quad, who are you with, and how far will you go to defend those things you believe in? And then we have to reveal, well, it is what you think you're actually doing and what you actually believe in the case for this cause. So we're going to play with that, I think, through the duration of the series.
Okay, I'm gonna go like way at the back there. Yep, there's a lot of hands there.
Stand up and belt it out.
What was your favorite episode and why?
What was your favorite episode to film and why?
I'm trying way too hard now. Trying, yeah.
That was not bad though.
Joel?
I think that my favorite episode was probably 9, Enemy Climb, because it was sort of the team getting back together again and working, and a lot of the beginning missions that we sort of went on were sort of smaller in scope, but it was really fun, like that idea of being out and doing a mission. But this one was like really big, like this is breaking into the rack, this is, spoilers? So there was something really exciting about that, and there was this mission and the team sort of coming back together. So for me, I really enjoyed that one, and I really enjoyed watching it too. I think it balanced all the best things about the show, the action and the teamwork, and then also like really forwarding the story. I think we got a lot of information from that one too. So that was definitely my favorite episode to shoot, was the 9th one.
Tamsen, was there a particular moment that you can recall was like your favorite line to record? Or?
I did really like, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, what was it? Shitty, shit, stupid shit. There we go.
When you see that on the page, you're just like, yes.
I have to say, episode 9, I wish all of our cast would be with us today. Episode 9 was the most epic read-through we've ever had. So much laughter. And there was stuff we ended up having to cut out because it just went a little weird. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I like it.
Yeah, can you tease us at all? What were they saying?
No, I don't.
I tried, guys.
Back to the floor. Oh boy, so many hands. All right, right there. Glasses.
Love the opening theme. I was wondering if there was ever actually an extended version done, and do you have any plans to release any soundtrack for the show?
Have you all heard that?
We had the great fortune of working with wonderful people coming up with sort of our written score, which was Tim Welton, Treballou, and coming up with sort of our source music, which was our picks. They did an amazing job, and so I really hope that they get, to put their stuff out there on both fronts. Some of my favorite music was actually some bit of score that Tim did. I think it was in 8 when you were sort of doing all the shoot around stuff in the bar. So I hope that comes out. All you hear in that opening bit is all we had. That was like very sort of compressed time that was done in. So they may have released it.
Though, and like for
Yeah.
like 3 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I think he just volunteered. So check his website.
Remix by Aaron Ashmore.
I'm gonna totally remix that.
Okay, right, blue shirt.
In other sci-fi shows, the ship has a visual manifestation, like a hologram or something like that. Did you think about doing a visual manifestation, or are you thinking on doing it in the future now?
The question is about visual manifestations of the ships and other science fiction shows, and whether you would consider such a thing on Killjoys.
Tamsen, do you like that idea?
Yes, I'm a little biased.
Next year she's just gonna stand there. Hi, Tamsen. She's like, this works better. This works better. I feel it. I think we would be open to it, certainly. I told someone once that I have a story in the back of my mind now that we've met lovely Tamsen, that let's hope that we get episode 900. And for some reason, if you're going off on your own lone soldier, I like the idea of you showing up at sort of a bar and having a drink, and then it's you that sits down beside that needs a lift. And so we all know that basically Johnny and Lucy are going to go off.
Aww.
You won't spoil season 2, but you'll spoil the ending.
Well, yeah.
That's really cute, I like that.
Picture right there, picture.
How much of your personality are you allowed to put into your character?
How much of your personality are you allowed to put into your character?
For Aaron or for Tamsen?
Both.
Well, I think you're allowed to put as much as your personality in as you want. I mean, you have to play the actions and you play the dialogue, but so I think that you're always going to be bringing some of yourself to the characters. I find that in a lot of ways, John is sort of similar to me in certain ways, so that's kind of easy. And I think that for a TV show where you're shooting so much material, it's kind of nice when there's a lot of similarities. You can kind of bring a lot of your own personal experience to stuff. I have a brother, so you know what I mean? Like in that dynamic, okay, like that, you can use some of that stuff. But, and again, I think that, I don't know if your guys, the way that you write things at all sort of takes our personalities into play, like over time, you know, like once you get to know us, or just, I don't know if that affects things at all, so maybe it's even seamless, you know, I don't even know that I'm doing it at times, but yeah, I think you're always bringing your own experiences to the characters, so some. I don't know. Sometimes, guys, I just start rambling and it's better just to cut it off.
So to summarize, somewhat.
I could have just said that. Oh my God, that would have been so much faster.
How about you?
I'm kind of right on the same page with Aaron in that I think that if you're not bringing a bit of your own personality, then ask someone else to do it. You know, I mean, I think that you can't help but bring your own personality, and it makes it honest and it makes it interesting and some.
But on the topic of bringing personality to a character, I love, and I'm sure we all do, Amanda Tapping, and bringing not really her personality to that character exactly, but was she your first choice? Was that an ask? Was that a get? Can you tell us about bringing her onto the show?
Yeah, that was just a fortuitous stroke of luck. I think we'd actually been looking at her as a director, and she didn't have the time that it takes for that. And we were like, wait a minute, could you do this? And she's like, yeah, I could do that. I'm like, are you kidding me? You could do that? So it was pretty awesome. And I'd never met her. I'd been a huge fan, obviously. Damn, she's nice. So nice. Like, we just kind of sat in my office for a while and chilled and talked about farms and stuff. Like, she was just, it was all very random and lovely. And then she goes and is really evil. It was fun.
For a few more questions. Okay, front row right there.
It kind of looks like, I was thinking, like, there might be another, like, tension within the trio again, because it looks like it might go against Davin, and it looks like he might be under some kind of brainwashing again, so there's going to be that sort of conflict. And I know like the last time, it was like John was like, I can't kill my brother, but do you think like in some aspect, like there would be that time where like John says, you know what, screw it, I'm not.
You go ahead and summarize.
No, I was looking great at you on that one.
Is the question, is there at any point would John take out Davin?
Yeah, or like you have to say like, you know what, I have to protect.
For the better good of the trio, or
No. No, I think that he would. No, I don't think he could. I mean, maybe, but I think that would be a really difficult thing. So I don't think that he could. I think he'd try and talk him down. I think even if he's coming at him with a weapon or something like that, I think he would be, like if he was in that crazy mode, I think he'd be trying to talk him down. I don't think he could actually take him out. Maybe.
Hand up, way at the back. Yep, stand up.
If you could do a crossover with any other sci-fi show, what would you pick?
Did you even do a crossover? I mean, it's such a unique world. How would other people?
What was that? I didn't get it.
that's a good pick.
I didn't hear.
I don't know. I mean, the thing that always scares me about the thought of crossovers is just the amount of work. I sound really lazy. That might not be wrong. Just the idea of you have so many different fans to service, and you have to kind of know their stuff as well as your stuff, but it also just sounds fun. So it would probably be 70s stuff though. Like old Battlestar or Bucky Bonsai, or like a whole bunch of old stuff.
I'm not going to see any Lost Girl characters show up on Killjoys.
Well, not as characters, but before I realized that Zoe was on Dark Matter, she's a lovely lady as Anna, and I did at one point in the development phase think I wanted them to come on as a married couple. but that had a baby. They were like your Warren, and then you were, of course, with Kenzie. So that would be hilarious if you were just like, you look really familiar. So yeah. Tamsen, would you like to fit? Yeah, anything, any show. For crossover?
Oh, for crossover.
Yeah.
I am a fan of Firefly.
My choice.
Good choice. Okay, let's do, yeah, right there.
Yeah. I have a couple things I had to write down to keep the things. Strangely enough, I compared it on Facebook to Firefly. I'm just wondering, I'm sure other people did, but anyway.
No, sir, it was you.
Michelle, your supporting characters are wonderful. The ship, everybody, the Starback, the bartender, the doctor, I love them all. They're very believable. Aaron, I wanted to say to you that I thought for the
I like you best.
Not so much.
I want to say that since from episode 1, I thought that yours and Hannah's on-screen presence together was very believable that you two were deep friends. And that just carried on right completely through. And I just want to say that was awesome. The question I have for you is, in the episode where you're pretending to be a Scarback as you're going down into the underground, and you give the blessing, and then afterwards you sort of confess and go, geez, I can't do that. And then he turns to you and says, no. I was wondering if you would like to explore a little bit more of that, where he's sort of like going down a road that he's not exactly sure that's the way he should be going or not, or whether it's just going to catch him by surprise.
Did you guys hear that at the back?
Yeah, it's a long one, sorry.
So, sort of the idea of John following in the Scarback tracks and like how he feels about that, and
well, yeah, and being not just he's doing it without being a part of it, like it's sort of almost destiny that this is going to be part of it.
So is it sort of destiny, or is there something built in, something more that's happening for John with the Scarback stuff? I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Throw a few more in, Michelle.
He just randomly starts saying grace every time they're eating. I'm like, John, seriously, just calm down.
Praise the trees. I thought that was really interesting. I've sort of mentioned before, I always thought the Elvis character is so fascinating and mysterious, and because we don't know exactly what's going on with this religion, and I always thought it was really interesting how desolate and sort of mechanical and stuff Westerly is, but the religion is about, a lot of it is about nature and trees and stuff. So I always thought that stuff was really fascinating. As far as those big decisions of destiny on the show for John, and is that part of it? I think that's really interesting. But obviously, we got to talk to the boss.
Just hints here.
Noted.
That's it. All right, there's a lady at the back with her hand up. You look at yourself. Yep.
Just kind of wondering, it may be unpopular, but it seems over this season that pretty much Davin managed to, in a few weeks, screw up literally everything. So it would be better for the team if he wasn't on the team.
That's my brother. Not going anywhere.
Will we see the team gel more in the second season? Will it be about them being cohesive, or is that even too much of a spoiler?
No, I think Team Awesome Force will rise again, and I think that this show is built around the three of them, and every season is going to explore. I mean, like every family, you're kind of planning asshole, who's the asshole, and it's a little competition. Place your bets. So we will have some fun with that, because I think that's organic and real, and all that matters to me is that I remember early on when I was pitching it, everybody was conceiving of it as a love triangle. I'm like, no. It's a,
thank God.
Yeah, like it's a relationship triangle, and the thing that Johnny does with this, I pitched that in the room before we sold it, because I was having to make people understand that I'm like, no, he's like, they're just brother and sister, and it's creeping me out. So, but I'm as curious about and think each angle is as important as the other, one of them being the two brothers, and that's one of the things that I love. And I think that there's a lot that people misunderstand about the character of Davin, including John, which I hope we can get into with some origin stuff this next season. He's a pretty selfless, awesome guy who has had an unfair amount of crap heaped upon him. And I think that John is going to see himself and his history in a different light.
And with that too, and I think that I've seen people respond to it in a really interesting way too, like the PTSD stuff. With that, I'm like, he's reacting out of all these ways. I mean, like you said, he's had so much stuff heaped onto him that, yeah, he's sort of the bad guy in some of these scenarios, but he's not really a bad guy. He's just been in these incredibly terrible situations and has sort of been manipulated, I guess, in a lot of ways. So I think he's still really likable, even though he did some of those things.
He did shit you.
I forgive.
Thank you so much for all of your questions. We do have to get our Killjoys guests down to our booth for some signing action. But is there anything else you'd like to say to the rest of our room here?
I will say something, and then I'm sure you all will as well. Thank you, sincere from all of our hearts. Thank you, everybody who watched. Thank you, everybody. It makes a huge difference. It's part of why we're coming back, and also thank you to all of our cast and all of our crew. And we look forward to showing you more and better.
And don't anyone go anywhere. We gotta let them leave the room first because they're gonna go downstairs, and then we'll do our prize draw for the 2 signed scripts, and we'll let you know who gets tickets to do the autographs. But give a big round of applause for Aaron Ashmore. Okay, so, see down in the booth? We got 2 signed scripts. Let them run down to the room. We'll see you at the booth. Hi guys. So, first things first, do the trivia for the signed scripts. So, put your hand up and I'll make Morgan pick.
Oh, great.